Hi, how's it going? I'm Malachi, CEO and engineer of Elite Automation. Today, we'll be taking you all through a FANUC Roboguide video on DCS. And if you don't know what DCS is, it stands for Dual Check Safety. It's like FANUC's proprietary safety check system. Basically what it is, and a lot of robots have this now, pretty much every robot has a version of this, it creates a safe zone in a virtual space. So you can create these DCS zones in Cartesian space, or you could do like degree angle safety checks. And so basically what the degree angle safety checks will do is it will allow the robot to only move in a certain degree of motion. And then as far as the Cartesian check, you're able to create like boxes in like an XYZ type of plane. So this video is going to be super useful. It's very good even if you're not doing stuff with DCS, because we're going to kind of go into some things with just Cartesian space and kind of how that works. It's all going to be revolved around DCS, but since DCS works in Cartesian space, it's going to be a really good video for anybody. Also, DCS is a very good skill to have. I think FANUC's class on this is like $1,500 class, and to be honest, we're going to like streamline a lot of that stuff. I'm not going to say this is going to be better than a FANUC class, but I'm going to say you're going to get more value in a shorter period of time, because this is the stuff we do. We do it on a daily. We know what's important, and we know how to get the job done. And like I said, we're experts at this. We can knock things out very quickly. So let's go ahead and jump into this thing. So here we've already created a couple of zones. We're mainly going to be paying attention to this red zone right here. So this red zone is the restricted zone that we've already created. And notice that the robot has the green spheres around it. So this is the robot's user model, is these green spheres. And we'll get into the user models a little bit here in just a second. So we're going to go over here to the DCS. Here we are, we're in the DCS. We're going to Cartesian position check. Okay, as you can see, we have the number 2 DCS zone enabled. It says it's safe right now. So that status indicator tells you safe. It tells you there's another status indicator safe up there at the top. And it just basically tells you whether you have protruded into that zone or not. And so we're going to go ahead and reset the robot, and we're going to jog out of it first. Now we're going to jog back into it, okay? Notice we've protruded through the zone, and our robot still hasn't faulted out. And our robot tooling is now in there. So if there was a human in there and our robot has protruded through the zone, we would have basically just hit a human, and there's a reason for that. The reason why it's doing that is because we don't have a user model set up. So our tooling is not protected. Only the robot arm itself is protected at the moment. So we're going to go ahead and jog a little bit further. Boom. Now you can see our status indicator just went to unsafe, and you can't really see it very well in this imagery right here, in this angle that we're looking at, but there is actually a zone at the flange of the robot, and that's what's actually hitting the DCS zone right now, creating the unsafe condition. So we're going to go ahead and reset this and jog back out of it again. Boom, boom, boom. So shift, reset our faults, move a negative Y backwards. Boom. So we're going to go over here and go to DCS User Model. So the DCS User Model, it's in your DCS options over there. You can also navigate through the Teach Pendant and do all this stuff, but it's a lot easier through Roboguide. So UM1, all these, like I said, all these options are inside of the FANUC Teach Pendant. So it'll just look a little bit different, but overall the settings are still there. So these user models right here, you can set up 16 different user models. So these user models will be utilized if you have like a feature that is in the cell and then maybe it's out of the cell, or maybe if a light curtain's broken or a safety mat's turned on, that you turn on that user model. And then whenever somebody leaves that area, then you turn off that user model. But user models are generally attached to the robot or some extension of the robot. They're not going to necessarily be a DCS zone that you turn off and on per se. So we're going to go through some different options. So where do you want to attach this at? You want to attach it at the faceplate. So 99 faceplate, normal, vertical, horizontal. We're going to go normal, user tool actually. So this is the user tool. So you can have these actually change whenever you change your tool frames, because these are meant to be used with tooling. So here we have line segment, 2 spheres, box, point. These are the different types of DCS zones that you can create, or different types of user models that you can create. So right here we just selected a point and we're going to put a size to it. Boom. So this is the radius, I believe. This will change the sphere size of this this point. So it's one little particular point in space, and then from there the size dimension, and then your XYZ is going to change where it's at from that flange. So it's at the 0 point of the flange right now. If you look at it, basically it's exactly where the center point of that flange is at this moment. So we're going to go ahead and change it just to demonstrate. We're going to do a line segment. Notice how it changed. You have different settings options now that we changed the type of user model that we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and just change the size real quick. So we're going to put a 75 in here. Going to apply it. We also have to hit the checkbox up here to indicate what elements we want to be turned on in this user model. Then we'll apply it again. Okay, boom. Now you can see we have our user model that is active. Boom, boom, boom. So right now we have 2 particular points that are sitting at the same exact spot in space. So we're going to change the Z value. Boom. So now that we changed the Z value, now you can see those 2 points are now separate points. So this creates like these 2 spherical objects, as you can see right here, and creates like a cylindrical object to go along with it. One thing to keep in mind is different DCS shapes take up more DCS memory. Boom. So as you can see, we can change the size of this thing. Kind of just playing around with it a little bit, just kind of demonstrate a couple different things and how things react whenever you make these changes. Boom. So now we're going to go to a box. The box is actually one of the most resource intensive objects. So the sphere is, I think, the most simple and less resource intensive object. So we got the box, we have an offset, and we have a size. So you will not see anything here unless you create a size. So you have to give this thing a size, and then we're going to go ahead and give it offset as well. So say 40, and then a 20, another 20, and let's go 80. Boom. Still too small, you can barely see it. So it's inside the cylindrical part of that tooling right there. And another thing to keep in mind, the bigger you make your DCS, the more resource intensive it is as well. It's definitely an issue on the older robots. Newer robots are getting better about it and can handle more. So we're going to change this one to a 40, apply it, boom. Now you can see how it got bigger. Notice how like when we change X and what direction it changes in. So you see that triad right there, the XY, that is the orientation that that is the direction in which it is growing in, or you're changing its dimension in. So notice how we just changed 50 and it got wider because that's the Y direction. Z is out from the tool. So you can hold your finger like this and your thumb is Z. So actually it's like this. So Z positive always goes out away from the flange of the robot. Okay. Go to point. Apply. And so now, as you can see, we have 2 different elements here. We added a sphere, and then we added a box. So you can combine these things together to create a user model. And the main reason for being able to do that is so you can have a more fine-tuned DCS, and then also make it so that your user model is not super resource intensive, because it can actually have impact on a robot's like cycle time and its memory and its scan time inside of a program. So notice how it says there's a change right there. We have to apply the change and say okay, and then we just got to cycle the power to this robot to be able to accept these DCS changes. So the way DCS works is it has 2 CPUs. Every safety PLC, anything like that, has 2 CPUs. You have to cycle power always on like the FANUC robot to align the safety part of the processor and the non-safety part of the processor. You have to do that on like a lot of safety controllers and things like that as well. It asks for you to cycle power after a safety edit. And that's just so that the 2 CPUs that run inside of the safety system are running the same code. Because another thing to keep in mind is, like, whenever you have two CPUs, those codes are all, the reason why you have two CPUs, there's always a comparison check going on between the two pieces of code to make sure they match. Okay, so we just jogged inside of here. Notice that there's no fault on the robot. So the robot did not fault out when it entered the DCS zone. So one, make sure you check your DCS zones to ensure that they are set up appropriately. Always verify your safety related items. So we need to go into here, into our actual Cartesian, or into our DCS zones, and go into our user models. So this actually makes it so that you can associate a user model. We're going to choose UM1 because that's what we used. Apply it. Okay it. We'll apply it here as well. Or this just makes it so that you can associate a user model with a particular DCS zone, because maybe there's some type of particular reason that you don't care that the robot tooling is affected with. Maybe robot tooling with like any type of human interaction, you want to protect it. But maybe with like a jig fixture, you don't want to, because you don't want false collision. Or maybe you want to use a different model whenever you go to pick an object up. But when you're moving through space, you use a different one. So we're going to go back to our DCS settings. Boom, DCS. Notice how it says change again. It says we're safe. We have to do the same, apply, and then cycle power again. Run unregistered tool frame. Okay, so the reason why it's saying unregistered tool frame is because we're using a frame that we have not created, if I'm not mistaken. UM1. Oh. Yeah, so user tool 1 right here. And then... and this one's a 0. So we got to make these two match real quick, because we have two elements with two different user models in them, or user frames, I should say. Sorry, tool frames. So we applied that tool frame 1, and then unregistered tool frame. Do you want to apply that? Yep. Change the settings. Okay. Yeah, so it was like I was saying before, we didn't have the tool created, so you have to have the tool frames taught and created in order for it to accept the tool frame in its in the DCS zone. So if you have an issue with not being able to register a frame, it's because you didn't teach it. See, now that's 0 in the user tool. So that, see how we just edited it in the teach pennant and edit it here on the Roboguide side of things? They're very interlinked and intertwined. See, that's a 0 as well. We just don't have a user tool created, or a tool frame created for this robot. So we're cycling power again to accept these edits. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and jog this robot. Shift, reset, and we're going to jog in the Y direction. Boom. Okay, notice how as soon as that robot tooling hit the DCS zone, they both went black. So the black in the Roboguide indicates that these are the two collided zones. These are the two unsafe zones, according to FANUC. So right now we're in an unsafe state. We jog back. Notice the zone goes back red again. The tooling goes back red again. So we essentially we created a user model. It wasn't so much of a DCS zone, but hopefully this was super useful for you guys. We have our next video will be how to turn on and off DCS zones with I/O. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and check out some of the new content we have coming out on the channel, and we'll catch you on the next one.